a little micro lesson on a trick that will reduce your students' cognitive load and just make things run more smoothly. And that is customizing and, oftentimes hiding these left-hand links. Since we're recording these for future reference, if you are watching this from the future, go ahead and pause the video and open up one of your Canvas classes like I've got right here. And from here, there's inside your class, there's two different ways to figure out if one of these left-hand navigation links is visible to your students. And the first way is to look for this little symbol that is next to it. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like a I with a slash through it, and icon, if you will. Unfortunately, that's not going to be true for every link. Sometimes they come from a third-party, publisher, or a third-party app will kind of splat a link right here, and then it, may not have the icon, but it might not be visible to students. I'm thinking like lockdown browser, Cengage, those types of things. So the second way to check whether a link is visible to the student is to come up here, go ahead and click on Student View in the top right corner. And that is going to show from the student perspective. And look how much cleaner that is. And it almost forces students into this middle section, whether that's your modules where I have the individual items like Chris showed us, or whether it's a custom homepage that you've set up for your course. And so essentially if a student has to stop and think, okay, so my instructor said there's discussion homework, but I don't really see a homework link. Do I go to discussions? Do I go to assignments? What do I do? That is cognitive load, and it is a finite resource. So essentially, the more time and energy your students have to spend finding your content, the fewer brain cells essentially they have left over to actually engage and absorb that content. So I'm going to show you how to fix it. First of all, go ahead and get out of student view, which is going to be by clicking the Leave Student View button at the bottom. And I would like to jump over to the other tab where I had essentially the same course, but in this course, I have not hidden any of these. I think this is the only one that's hidden right here. And so to get started, go all the way to the settings link on the far bottom left. It's going to be down here. And then go ahead and click on the navigation tab. And you'll notice that the links on the right side match the links in your course on the left-hand side. And you'll also notice that there are two sections. There's a top section, and then there is a bottom section. And it says right here, drag items here to hide them from students. So essentially, all you need to do to turn these off is literally just click and drag from the top to the bottom. And the other way, if click and drag, doesn't really work for you, you can also click on the three dots and say disable, or you can also go down and enable, and it'll pop it up to the top or the bottom section. And then the final step you want to make sure not to forget is to go all the way down to the bottom and hit save. Otherwise, you'll have to do all of that work all over again. So now if you could head back to the navigation page, navigation tab. Oh, yes.
Sorry, evaluation.
Evaluation kit does not matter. It is one of those third-party tools that has its own agenda. It will decide when it is visible or not. It literally does not matter what you do to it. Totally fine. Great question. I'm actually going to talk about some of these, my recommendations for some of these, with the caveat and the disclaimer that it's going to be super personal to all of your classes, so all of you make the final decision, of course. So as we're looking at some of these, Gail, if you just want to start slowly, just kind of hiding these starting at the bottom. I recommend disabling the vast majority of these. In fact, spoiler alert, I think the only things we really need are home, grades, and announcements, really. So assignments, discussions, and quizzes, you should really have students accessing those from your modules or from your home page, because that's where, in order, top to bottom, students just work their way through, and that's where they hit everything. Plus any third-party tools you might be using. So if you're using Panopto, Lockdown Browser, Cengage, anything like that, obviously you probably need the link in the top section in order to use those services. And then modules, let's see. The modules link, I would really only keep if you have a custom homepage set up. Otherwise, for the vast majority of people, the modules page is your homepage. So you don't really need that. People page, if you're using student groups, or especially if you're having students set up their own groups, you might want to keep the people page active. But other than that, hide that. For most people, I'd recommend hiding the page. It's called syllabus. It's not really a syllabus in a traditional sense. Canvas just decided to give it a really unfortunate name that happens to mean something else that's very important. For most people, I would hide that. You can check it out and see if it's useful to you, but it kind of does its own thing. It automatically populates Canvas assignments with due dates on that page. So what you really don't want students to see, oh, that's the syllabus, I'm just going to do everything on that page, and you haven't set it up to actually be your syllabus. If you do keep any of these open, so let's say you have Lockdown browser isn't going to be visible, but maybe you have Panopto, maybe you decide to keep the discussion page open because you like that format. If you do want students to use these left-hand links, make sure you're communicating to them that that's what you want them to do. So, especially for fully online classes, say, for this assignment, go to the left-hand side, click on this link. If you can even do a little, like Chris did, have something in your intro to the class about how to navigate this course. For Cengage assignments, we're going to be going over here. For Panopto, we're going to be going over here. But a lot of those tools do offer a way to insert assignments in your modules anyway. So I would say where you can, take advantage of, Panopto has a thing on the left-hand side, but it also has a way to insert your videos in your modules. So take advantage of those options when you have them. If you don't have them, make sure, in a getting started module, to tell students where to go, essentially. And that is it for the demo. I've got about a minute and a half left, so just any more questions? Steve?
Why wouldn't people want to have files open? And sometimes in your course, you don't realize you've copied a copy of a course. Sometimes you have test files in there. You sometimes have a number of things that you don't want students to see.
Yes.
So that's why you always want to typically shut down files unless you know what are in those files and you want your students to see them. You always want to have that files area shut down.
Yeah, files often accumulates from past semesters, and it can be kind of hard to make sure that everything that you want to be visible is visible, and things that you don't want to be visible are not. So yeah, it is, files is one of those that it's safest to just hide. All right, that's 10 minutes. So thank you guys, and enjoy your lunch.